this winter we had like ridiculous amounts of snowfall. So not only was it really wet and we had like some water issues and flooding, but I bet you have some camera on my phone or some data on my phone of this. The entire drive-in, like the main drive-in, every tree was like heavy snow, like arcway. Like you could hardly even snowmobile on this trail. And this is usually where we drive like pickups and like semis can go in here when they're logging. Like it was incredibly destroyed. I've only been up here once or twice to put cameras up and kind of let it sit. And we're starting making 80 season 3. Okay, so we first year did a tractor with a brush in the back of it. That was one way to do it. Last year we did the Ranger with a rented 4-wheeled cutter with just a mower. This year, again, rented every year, it adds up and it's kind of a pain to go get it and bring it back. So we invested in our own cutter, smaller cutting diameter. Hopefully it'll allow me to kind of get in and out of space a little bit easier. And that's the idea behind having the Sportsman. So now we have a smaller machine, should be a little more agile, a little quick, be able to get into little places. And with some of the things we're doing this year, aside from just cutting the plots and the trails, we're actually going to get in and try and cut some deer trails later this year as well. So should have plenty of power to be able to do what we want to do, and should be pretty dang agile. So.
It seems like every year you learn more about what works and what doesn't, and always improving your process and making things quicker, faster, heck, even easier is one of those things that you gain with experience throughout multiple years of doing something like this.
Again, we've done this for 30 in a row now, and it always surprises me how good it looks after. Even though, from weeds just to mowed weeds, it just looks better. So obviously the Sportsman didn't have an issue with it. It couldn't even feel it. So that's all good. Gonna keep going down the path. Gonna go down the second food plot, do a little maintenance, and then get the heck out of here because it's hot. To be honest, doesn't look the greatest right now, but with a couple passes with this thing, we'll get a lot of the big logs out and should be ready to spray. The ground is super uneven and there's a bunch of crap just left over. So we're gonna go with the cultivator, pretty much broom it over and rake it over. It'll flatten it out naturally. It's just doing a little bit of housekeeping before we till and plant. All right, so spraying, same system as last year, except for this year, I do have my own. I didn't bum Pat's and borrow his for the weekend. Last year, I pumped water up from like this hole we had, like this ditch kind of a thing. I was always nervous that like sediment would get in there and it would clog the pump up. So this year, we did cart 3 totes full of fresh water, plus or minus a couple gallons lost from splash factor on the way here. But I think it'll work. We got 3 24 gallons. This is only 60 gallons. 1 full tank of this should be able to do both plots. And shout out to Helen from Menards for comparing the Compare and Save, at least recommending it. She says it smokes Roundup. So let's get siphoning from here to here, get this filled up, and we'll get spraying. All right, the old-fashioned siphonage. For those that aren't familiar, you take a hose, and as long as you got water that's higher than where it's going, you can siphon it right out of you. Oh, we are cooking, ladies and gentlemen. We are cooking. So we're gonna pour this in. The ride back to the food pot is gonna shake things up a bit. So I don't have to worry about it sitting here mixing it or whatnot. It's just gonna do it by itself. Again, we've done this before. We're just going through the paces now. Let's get to spraying.
You've heard the right tool makes the job, right? Well, that's this Polaris sprayer. Its reach, its coverage, the fact that it's made to fit in the back of your Ranger, it's just perfect. It's one of those investments that years later, I know I'm gonna be thankful I made.
We're gonna give us a couple days. There isn't a lot growing here already because the excavator's been here and tore everything up. As you can see, it's mainly dirt. So I just kind of sprayed the edges. Definitely gave more love to the other one. And in a few days, we'll be able to come back and till. And we got a lot of raking to do in this one, obviously. A lot of roots coming up here. But yeah, we're gonna come back, get the tilling going. After a few days, pretty much everything here will be dead and we'll be ready to plant. All right, everything's died off. We gave it 3 days. That's all it needs. I'm gonna tear this thing up, cultipacker, disc, maybe even rake it for good measure. And then we're planting today too, so let's get to it.
Every year it seems easier and easier to turn over the dirt. It's one of those rare perspectives when working on a property like this that gives you clear evidence that the hard work that you're putting in is paying off.
All right, going 5-card draw. Pretty sure this is the stuff that Pat gave me the first year. And then we're gonna do some turnips in the middle of it too. Again, that's more like your late season food source, but I'm gonna throw it in the spreader and yeah, let's get to planting.
Over the last few years, I've learned to invest in things that make me more efficient. And even though the process of cutting, spraying, and planting seems to kind of be the same year after year, I think that's kind of the point. It's little improvements. There's always something to learn in a process like this year to year, and there's always ways for me to improve.
We got both plots tilled and planted. That was the agenda for today. I am in desperate need of some water. Until next time, we got a watering hole we're gonna put in. We got some water solutions from the flooding that happened this spring that we're gonna try and prevent for next year. But I'm thirsty, I'm hot, it's time to get out of here.